Okay, so today we're going to talk about using partial quotients for division. So let's just start off with a two-digit division problem. So let's start off with 98 divided by 6. Now for a partial quotient division problem, what we're going to do is we're going to write our division problem, and then we're going to create sort of a hangman sign that comes down to the side. Okay, so basically what we're trying to see is if I take 98 and I divide it into 6 groups, how many will be in each group? So in order to start, we're going to begin with something called friendly products, where we're going to use our multiplication, what we've learned about multiplication, to help us divide. So because we're dividing by 6 here, we're going to ask ourselves, what are some multiplication problems that we can use to help us solve this division problem? So let's think about 6 and what we know about 6. And what are some friendly products that go with 6? So I'm thinking in my head, well, 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 10 is 60. So I have 60 here, which is still less than 98. So let's go with 6 times 100 is 600. Well, that would be way too much. So let's use what we know about 6 times 10 here. So I can take 6 times 10. All right, so there should be 10 groups of 6 in the number 98. So I'm going to put a 10 right out here because I can make 10 groups of 6, okay, or 6 groups of 10. So if I think, well, what is 6 times 10? Well, that would be 60. 6 times 10 is 60. So I'm going to take 60 away from the 98 and go ahead and subtract that. 8 minus 0 is 8, and 9 minus 6 is 3. Okay, so now I have subtracted the 60 from the 98, and I was able to put 10 in each group. And now I'm going to say, well, here I have 38 now. So in my head, I'm thinking, as we've already been talking about how you can use your multiplication facts to help you with division, I'm thinking, now if I only had 38, how many can I put in those 6 groups? So 6 times what would get me as close to 38 as I can without going over. 6 times what? Okay. Now, if you know your multiplication facts, you're thinking, well, there's not 6 times something that would give me 38. But we can do 6 times 6 equals 36, which is less than the 38. So guess what? I can make 6 more groups. So I can make 6 more, or I can put 6 more in those groups of 6, and that means that I would take 36 away and do my subtraction. 8 minus 6 is 2, 3 minus 3 is 0. So I have 2 being less than 6, so I can't divide the 2 up evenly. So I'm going to add these up, and I get 16 remainder 2. So I start off with 98, and I divide 98 into 6 groups. There will end up being 16 in each one and 2 left over. And these multiplication facts helped me solve my problem. So let's take a look at another one. So let's go another two-digit problem. Let's start with 74 divided by 3. So once again, I am asking myself, what are some friendly products? What are some multiplication facts that go with the number 3, since I'm dividing by 3? What are some multiplication facts that can help me solve 74 divided by 3? So I'm going to ask myself, okay, well, let's just start off with 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 100 is 300. And I could probably get started with those because I'm seeing that if I take 3 and multiply it by 10, I get 30. And I can use that to help me solve this problem. So once again, let's draw sort of a hangman sign coming down here. So if I have 74 and I'm dividing it by 3, how many are going to go in each group? So in your head, you're thinking, well, 3 times what will get me as close to 74 without going over? Well, if I look over here, I see that I can make 10 groups, and that would be 30. But what if I made 20 times 3, or 3 times 20? What does that equal? That would equal 60, which is closer to the 74. And we should know how to do this multiplication because we simply have learned that 2 times 3 is 6, and then we add the 0 in. So we have 20 groups, or 20 in each group that we could make. So 3 will go into 74 20 times, and 20 times 3 is 60. So I can subtract. 4 minus 0 is 4. 7 minus 6 is 1, and I'm left with 14. So now that I'm left with 14, I'm asking myself, what can I multiply 3 by to get as close to 14 as I can without going over? So you're thinking 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. 15 would be over 14. So let's do that again. 3, 6, 9, 12. So that was 4 times. So 3 times 4 is 12. So I can do 4 more groups, or 4 more in each group of 3. And 4 times 3 is 12. So I'm going to take the 12 away. And I'm going to end up with 2, which is less than 3. So I know that now 2 is my remainder. So it will become 24, remainder 2. So if I take 74 and I divide it by 3, there will be 24 in each group with 2 left over. Alrighty, you guys are doing a great job. And let's do another one. Let's go with, how about we do 86 divided by 5. 5s are usually easy for us, but once again, we're thinking of friendly products. We call them friendly because these are the ones that we know. These are ones that we should come fairly easily to us that are going to help us solve the problem. So in my head, I'm thinking 5 times what? 5 times what will get me close to 86? So ask yourself what you know. I know that 5 times 1 is 5. That's not nearly enough. 5 times 10 is 50. I'm getting closer. If I go 5 times 100, that's 500. That's way too much. This is not nearly enough. So let's just go with this. 5 times 10. So let's do that hangman sign. And I can do 10 groups of 5. So let's just do 10. 10 times 5 is 50. So let's subtract 50. And when I do that, I'm going to get 6 minus 0 is 6, and 8 minus 5 is 3. So we end up with 36 left. Well, 36, I can take this 36 and keep on dividing it into those 5 groups. But how many will go in each group? So once again, we're using what we know about our 5s. 5 times what will get me as close to the 36 without going over? Well, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. 40 would be too many. So 5 times 5 is 25. I could probably do a bigger number than that. 5 times 6 is 30. So 5 times 7 would be 35. So 5 times 7 is 35. That's really close to 36. So I can do 7. Can take, it'll go in 36 divided into 5 groups. We put 7 in each group, so I can do that. So 5 times 7 gave us the 35. I'm going to take the 35 away, and I end up with 1 as the remainder. So if I take these and I add them up, 10 plus 7 is 17 with a remainder of 1. And that is my final answer.